Joining us now for World Brief and the review of some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Adefemi Akinsanya. Good morning, Adefemi.
Good morning, Dr. Rubin. I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, Bimbai. And good morning, Rufai. I hope everyone's doing well. Happy Democracy Day. All righty, let me tell you what's happening around the world. Let's begin in the Middle East, where the United States has ordered the departure of non-essential diplomatic staff and their families from embassies in Iraq, Bahrain, and Kuwait, amid growing diplomatic tensions in the region. Now, the U.S. State Department says the move is based on its commitment to keeping Americans safe, both at home and abroad. U.S. Embassy in Iraq had already limited staffing, and the order will not affect a large number of personnel. The partial evacuations come at a moment of heightened tensions in a region already aflame after 18 months of war in Gaza that has raised fears of the US and Israel being pitted against Iran and its allies, especially as nuclear talks between the US and Iran have hit a roadblock in the past few days. Meanwhile, the UK's Maritime Agency has warned that increased tensions in the Middle East may impact shipping in critical waterways. It advised vessels to use caution while traveling through the Gulf of Oman and the Straits of Hormuz, which all border Iran. At least 49 people, including several school children, have been killed in the floods that have swept through South Africa's Eastern Cape province as torrential rain and snow have hit parts of the country. Now, among the bodies recovered are those of 4 children, a driver and a conductor who were on a bus that was carried away in floodwaters as it was crossing a bridge in the town of Umtata on Tuesday morning. The heavy snow, rain, and gale force winds have also left nearly 500,000 homes without electricity since Tuesday, and state-owned power provider Eskom says efforts are being made to restore connections. Meanwhile, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has offered his condolences to the families of those who died, as he urged citizens to display caution, care, and cooperation as the worst impacts of winter weather take effect across the country. And finally, riots have erupted for a third consecutive night in Northern Ireland, while police condemning the violence as racist thuggery that had erupted following an alleged sexual assault. Now, youths threw rocks, fireworks, and Molotov cocktails at officers in riot gear as armored vehicles blocked roads in the town. Police also deployed water cannons for the second night in a row, but the clashes were far smaller than the previous night, when 5 people were arrested and 32 police officers were injured. Now, Gordon Lyons, he is the communities manager in Minister in Northern Ireland, which is of course part of the United Kingdom. Now, he had said that a number of people were seeking refuge from the anti-immigrant violence in Ballymena, and they had been moved temporarily to a leisure centre, which is where all of the attackers went and targeted. And because of that, Lyons' post did draw sharp criticism from other political parties because he had identified the location of the people that they were trying to protect. Now, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer says that he utterly condemns all of this violence. These are your stories. Love to hear your thoughts before we move on to the papers.
I'll talk about America. America moving its people out of the Middle East because of tensions. The question we should ask America is, what has America done to stem those tensions? What has America done as regards speaking truth to power, as regards the killings going on in Gaza? America is there, and America sees the reciprocal action, the barbaric reciprocal action of over 52,000 people killed and counting in Gaza, for about 1,700 people or less than 3,000 people that on the day of the invasion on the 7th of October. America keeps making weapons available to Israel. Children are being killed. America sees all these injustices over the years. What has America done as regards these injustices? America has not been able to put its firm foot on the ground while Gaza has been decimated. But what does the president do? He released a picture of himself about to build a Riviera in Gaza. Is this the land of the Pilgrim's pride? Is this America that fought through blood and tears, that had the American Civil War because of freedom? The same America that fought for the rights of the free slaves in the American Civil War. The same America that fought the might of British for their own independence, that believe in freedom. What did they do? What happened to France? What did all these other countries do?
Right.
So now that they are moving their people away from the Middle East, it's so easy for them to move their people away after being part of the problem in the first place and causing the chaos in the first place.
Thank you.
To South Africa, it's sad, devastating, especially because amongst the 49 who are dead are students, young children who were in their school bus on the way to school when it was swept away. Only, I think, 3 of those children have been confirmed dead. I watched a live rescue yesterday of one of those children who fortunately was actually rescued alive. Search still continues for the rest of them. Now, you have to remember that South Africa falls below the equator, so their weather pattern, their seasons are inverse to what we see in the north. So now, as the rest of the world is going into summer, South Africa is going into winter. And winter, we see the effect of climate change is getting more and more severe and intense every year. It has always snowed in parts of South Africa, but not this type of heavy snow, especially not in the Eastern Cape. That's number one. Number two, we're now looking at the effects, the consequences of state capture. Because what happened? The flood warning was issued in time, but the alert that the floods have become severe came at about 3 a.m. The municipality or the local government did not respond in time. It took a private company, that's the gift of the givers, to come and commence the rescue mission, and that was around 11 a.m. noon the following day. These people have built their homes on floodplains. Why are they not being moved and relocated? And they're also not heeding warnings to relocate when the floods come because they have nowhere to go. It rhymes with the situation that we've seen in the past few days here in Nigeria.
Okay, I will try to run through the two of these subjects very quickly. One, the Middle East. Tensions have escalated in the Middle East. Now, Iran and the U.S. have been talking. What are they been talking about? Uranium enrichment and the right of Iran to be a nuclear power. The United States says they will not allow Iran to become a nuclear power, and it has to suspend its uranium enrichment program. Iran says no, it is not possible, that they too have the right to become nuclear power. The United States says, if you insist, you have crossed the red line. And the United States, threatened military action. Iran, through its defense minister, also says, well, if you threaten military action, which will fight back? You have military bases in the Middle East, we will attack your military bases and we will fight back. So President Trump was initially optimistic that the talks will progress in the favor of the Americans. But now what you have in the Middle East is the US and Israel and their allies saying they will fight Iran and the allies. This is what has led to this situation, whereby the United States has now asked its officers and their dependents in Iraq, Baghdad, that is, in Kuwait, and also in Bahrain, to leave that territory in anticipation of hostilities, escalation of hostilities. I think it's unfortunate for the rest of the world. Britain has also put its mouth in the matter. Yes. Britain's maritime authority has said that there will be issues, there could be issues in the Strait of Hormuz, yes, in the Gulf of Oman, which is the major international trade route, for goods. The other time, they had to divert international trade towards the Cape of Good Hope. And that increased cost in Europe, affected global economy, it affected shipping and all that. So the international community is affected. How does this affect Nigeria? Now, in the face of these hostilities, oil price will seem to have risen by over 4%. Brent crude has risen by 4.34% to come in, as of this morning, at 69.17, per barrel. WTI, U.S. crude, WTI, Western, Texas Intermediate, came in at $68.15. So you see that this escalation has global implications,
Absolutely, I'm
geopolitical implications.
All right, so it looks
As
like
for
we've
South
come out-
Africa, man and nature, very unfortunate.
Yes.
But, you know, it's most unfortunate that students who were going to school in buses in the Cape of, in the Eastern Cape province and also in KwaZulu-Natal are the ones that are most affected.
Yes.
Again, historically, unfortunately, President Mandela is from the Eastern Cape province.
Yes.
But there's no racism involved in this. This
Of
is
course
about,
not, no.
you know, nature,
the environment, and the like.
But they say, you know, rescue efforts are in place.
Yes.
And all of that.
Okay, well, thank you all. Let's move on to newspapers just very quickly. On this Democracy Day, this day has released its 2025 Power List, which is 80 of the most influential leaders of democracy across 12 categories, which include, you know, the president's family members, his inner circle, confidants, his governors, business leaders in his corner. And I know that you've all spoken at length about all of them, but within the pages, from about page 37 onwards, you're able to get a proper profile of each of the people this day have listed. Now, to the New Telegraph now, it does lead with news of Democracy Day parade, of course, being cancelled. The president will be addressing the nation from the National Assembly later on today. Now, the Daily Times headline has the Conference of Nigeria Political Parties, the CNPP, calling on President Tinubu to conduct a free and fair and credible election in 2027, accusing the ruling All Progressive Congress of betraying the spirit of democracy in Nigeria. The CNPP also said that the ruling party has systemic erosion of guiding principles of democracy and values represented by June 12. Now, elevated tensions lead the front page of The Punch as protesters mobilize for demonstrations targeting the National Assembly complex, Eagle Square, and because of that, of course, security remains on high alert nationwide. In the same vein, The Guardian says that there are mixed feelings and tinges of regret as Democrats relive the ghost of June 12. Those are your papers. Thank you. I know we've come out of time, but thank you very much. See you tomorrow.
Thank you so much,
All righty.
Adefemi. Great job, as always.